Hello, my friends, and I hope you are having a fantastic day. There's an interesting relationship between video games and streamers. A lot of people will say that they've bought a video game because they watched someone stream it, or they didn't buy a video game because they saw the story through someone else. Now, these are obviously both true. There are some games that people won't buy because they don't want to. They don't want to play that game. They just want to see the story. Or in case of some FromSoft games, they can't beat the game, so they have to watch somebody else play the story, skill issues. Now, understandably, there are people within game development that feel people playing their game on stream means that other people are less likely to buy it. Which brings me to tonight's article from Automaton, written by Amber V. It says, making games is how I make a living and support my family. Visual novel developer speaks out against unauthorized gameplay streaming. Now, this is a Japanese developer. From what I have noticed around this article, the Japanese take streaming rules a lot more seriously than we do in the US. Story-driven games like visual novels and adventure games have a complicated relationship with streaming. Watching a full stream or walkthrough video often means consuming the content of the game in its entirety, which can lead to a loss of opportunity for the developer. And this is true to some degree. There are people out there who will absolutely watch the game being played and never buy it themselves because they feel just watching the game gives them enough of an experience that it doesn't matter. Also, they may just want to watch that one person play it. They actually may be more interested in the person playing it than the game itself in many cases. This is why many developers, particularly those from Japan, often set guidelines for content creators. These guidelines often define what parts of a game can and cannot be streamed, and sometimes prohibit streaming on day one. Which, if you believe that you're going to lose purchases from streaming, makes sense. But on the other hand, I do feel that you lose out on a lot of the hype that people would get in regards to. There's a lot of people who will only watch a little bit of the stream, decide that they would like to play the game themselves, and then go out and buy it. I would actually be very curious to see studies done on that. I do also believe it would also be kind of hard to do those studies perhaps, but not so much in today's day and age. However, enforcing these guidelines in a sea of YouTube and Twitch creators is not an easy task. Japanese game creator and novelist Takeya Iijima recently took to X to voice their frustration with the unauthorized streaming of their game and talk about the legal action they intended to take. Iijima's Dev Circle released a brand new visual novel-style adventure game on July 25th, and they asked content creators to wait until August 3rd to secure a 10-day window for initial sales. Despite the guidelines being very reasonable, it seems users ignored them and streamed hours of the game, including its endings, on day one of release. And we do have those messages. Apathy Murder Club. Game streaming and commentary will be permitted from August 3rd onwards as originally planned. I would be happy if as many people as possible could experience the fascinating world and characters of Narukami Academy. Welcome to Narukami Academy. And here's the Steam link. When distributing, please include the copyright notice on the caption, which is this. If we determine that a video is slanderous or libelous to others or violates public orders and morals, we may ask you to delete the video or discontinue distribution. Which is an interesting statement. Live commentary will be allowed from August 3rd as scheduled, but please remember that we will request that any slanderous or critical commentary be deleted. I'd be happy if you bought it, but this is also a way of expressing my gratitude to all the fans who play our games on a regular basis, so please enjoy the commentary. Now, unless there's something really lost in the translation, he doesn't sound that upset or even really mentioning it, with the exception of here where it says if you violate public orders and morals, but that's more of a Japanese thing. They're going to have some issues enforcing some of those internationally. In response, Iijima expressed shock and disappointment, emphasizing that they make games to earn a living and support their family. The developer was at a loss as to what action to take, noting that YouTube videos can be taken down with relative ease, but that is not the case with Twitch. And also, you tend to hurt yourself if you take down YouTube videos, at least in the English-speaking countries. Nobody really is particularly fond of someone who comes by and strikes a game based on the fact that you decided they streamed it too soon. In which case, anybody who might have been about to buy your game could decide not to. Ultimately, the creator decided to take legal action against the individuals. Due to the post gaining significant traction in the gaming community, the offending videos were deleted, but the developer received no apology nor explanation. By taking thorough legal measures, Ijima hopes to set an example and protect other creators from being negatively impacted by unauthorized streaming and video uploads. At the same time, they clarify that they are not attempting to vilify game content creators as a whole. In Japanese gaming circles, streaming guidelines are generally taken a lot more seriously than in English-speaking communities, regardless of whether they are defined by a large company or a solo developer. But it is not just a matter of ethics either, as unauthorized streaming is, legally speaking, copyright infringement. Last year, Japan saw its first arrest related to the issue, when a man was accused of violating copyright laws for uploading video game and anime footage to YouTube. And here is that article. A man arrested in Japan for uploading Steins Gate and Spy X Family footage. And that actually happened in 2023 on May 18th. As this game is in Japanese only, I think that it will definitely not see too much in regards to American issues, I suppose is a good way to put it. However, it makes you wonder how long before the American companies start getting these kinds of ideas. I do empathize with the idea of wanting to make sure you get as many sales as you possibly can. At the same time, I have to wonder if they're not, in a colloquial way to say it, cutting their nose off to spite their face. They seem to think that people streaming it, period, will keep people from buying it. And if there's one thing I have learned over time is that if someone takes an interest in the game, even if they've seen someone play it through to the end, even if they've seen a person play it through to all of the endings, they still want to do it themselves. So the only way that's not generally true is if your game is so linear that there's really only one way to play it and people don't have the opportunity to try their own ways. That can definitely cause issues in regards to how a game is played and if a person chooses to buy it after playing it. And maybe that's the issue here. Maybe their game is very one-dimensional and thus not something that lends itself to people wanting to buy it despite watching it. I know personally I watched a number of videos going over Doki Doki Literature Club, including all of the endings, and I still bought it and played it myself. It was still fun. There's something about experiencing the game for yourself that definitely makes a difference. And at the same time, it can be dangerous. But again, this is mostly in Japan, so as it says here, the gaming circles, the guidelines are taken a lot more seriously. Especially, I imagine, since they have the backup of laws where they can say that even just streaming these game parts, even if you are apparently changing it or using it in terms of fair use, as you would here in the US, can still get them in trouble. They take that copyright a lot more seriously. It is definitely an interesting conundrum, and it's something that we could actually segue into discussions of pirating. A lot of times people will pirate a game or a song or something along those lines and still end up buying it because they want the official copy as opposed to the pirated copy after they've decided that they like it. Now, that has a tendency to happen less now, especially as you can get copies that are pirated and almost literally just the same as the one that was officially created. And even more so in this day where you can have your game taken away because of DRM and all that fun shit. But that's a slightly more complicated discussion that I'm willing to get into tonight. But that leads me to wondering what you think. Do you think it is good for them to have that period where people have to buy the game in order to experience it? Or do you think that could potentially cool off people not being able to see the game through the eyes of a streamer and thus discourage them from buying it themselves because they don't know if they can or not? Now, I have to wonder if it works differently in Japan. I mean, that is entirely possible because it is very much a different culture. But let me know what you think down in the comments. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Please like, comment, subscribe, and turn on the notifications. If you really liked it, you can feel free to share it around, and I will catch you later.